Hey, good morning. Good morning. I'm Coach Nikki, and I'm excited to dive into optimizing your brain. This is one of my absolutely favorite conversations and favorite things to dive into because our brain is just amazing. And if we can just tweak or pull a few levers on optimizing all the potential that we have right between our two ears, our life is just significantly better. So, today we're going to talk about simple tips on what we can do to optimize our brain, which helps our memory, which helps our relationships, our mood, almost everything in our life. So, thank you so much for joining me. As everybody is logging on, please take a second and just, if you're watching this on replay, type in replay, or if you're jumping on right now, just say hello, where you're calling in from. One of my favorite things about these Fridays is just that we get to hang out. We get to chat about things that hopefully make your life better. I know for sure doing the research for us makes my life better. And the more that we can connect in all of the different arenas, the healthier, happier, and better we will be in life. So, today we are talking about optimizing our brain for the best performance in life. So that's going to be athletic performance. It's going to be how your body builds muscle, gets rid of fat, how to regulate our moods, have less anxiety, less depression, more joy, more focus. Really helps with like relationships. So a couple little things, all of a sudden you can feel yourself being just a kinder person, being more patient to people in your life, which I know for sure is something that we all need more of because all of us have a lot going on, right? So the last couple of years, and really just life in general, but really the last couple of years have been quite stressful. And stress is one of the things that causes havoc on our brain. So, when we're thinking about optimizing our brain, the first thing I want to talk about now, this is kind of a complex idea, and I think if you've been with me for many years, you've heard me talk about this. But what I always like to start with is understanding that we're not our brain, that our brain is a tool to help us move through life. So I like to think of my brain as like my intellectual best friend. And your brain has all of these random thoughts. And job, your brain's job, is to simplify things in your life, to create habits for you to make your life easier. Or let's not say easier, let's say simple, because your brain also does not know the difference between good habits and bad habits. Your brain is, kind of think of it like an internet search, like Google or something. So if you put in a specific search into Google, Google will take you that direction. And then you still, your spirit, you still have to go through and ask better questions. What do you really want? And I think a lot of times in life, we feel like we are our brain. We are our thoughts. And when our brain, I call my brain Nicole. So everybody, if you have a pen, just write down a little nickname for your brain really quick. So whatever that is, my name is my actually nickname is Nikki, but I call my brain Nicole, and I have to regulate Nicole all the time. Nicole, can I have a better thought? Nicole, because your brain can just go in all of these different directions, and so then we think we are our thoughts. So my brain says, I have anxiety, I'm depressed, I don't like this, I hate my body, and you're like, you follow along with it. Where if you can see the difference between you are the seer, you are the spirit that leads your brain, you are the boss, you are the leader. And the more you for better, ask your brain better questions for where you want to go in life, your brain will problem solve. She's that intellectual best friend of yours, will problem solve to get you there. But if you don't ask the right questions and you let your brain just shoot all these uh, everything from when you wake up in the morning, I'm tired, all through the day. I can't believe I have 3 more hours of work. All of these things, your brain is shooting out at you. And if you don't take control and say, I am the leader, so you can see yourself like in a chariot, and you're the charioteer, and the chariot, you are the leader. You are saying, we're going this direction, and ask your brain over and over and over for what you want. So before we dive into all the tips to optimize your brain, like food, exercise, different supplements, all of these things, let's first take a step back and really think about what it is and how you can optimize your thoughts to create your reality. And taking a second, that space in between your thought, which is your trigger, and your action, okay, taking a space in between here will optimize everything in your life. So when you think about, so I think most of us, and if you haven't read Atomic Habits, please grab it because it's so good, and it really explains like our habit loops and our brain function really well. And if we know that our brain likes habits because it needs to simplify and keep things, we have a lot of things going on. And if we didn't simplify our habits, we wouldn't fit through that birth canal and we'd get stuck. So we have to have everything condensed into this mighty brain. And these are called habits. Our brain doesn't know the difference between good habits and bad habits. So let's just take, for example, a habit loop. So the trigger is I feel depressed. I feel anxious, anxiety. Like write down any of kind of the feelings that might like haunt you kind of throughout the day. So that's a trigger. And your brain is like, I feel depressed. And then you have a craving. And so say if we're talking about like emotional eating, I feel depressed. I have a craving to get rid of this depression and or and maybe go towards food, because a lot of us emotional eat. A that's a normal human habit that is quite hard to break. And then from there, your action is eating food, which brings pleasure, right? And which calms your like that those nerves temporarily. And then you get that reward of like that, like, okay, I'm doing okay. But knowing the difference between short-term reward and the long-term reward. And so when we're thinking about our brain and how to optimize the habits that we do all the time to one, create a smarter brain, to create better relationships, to create a really healthy body, is think about these habit loops really well. And what I want to encourage us to do is take a detour. So on a piece of paper, just write detour on the top, and then STOP. So Deepak Chopra coined this stop. And so if you think about when you have a trigger, and this could be anything. So if you don't emotional eat, it could be anxiety, it could be depression, it could be drinking too much, it could be internet searching, any of these kind of habits that very easily root into our life and really hard to get rid of. Think about a habit for you, write down. So what is the trigger? So I'm just going to stay with the emotional eating because it's just something that's easy for most of us to think about. So trigger, I feel anxious, I feel depressed, I feel lonely. Next is craving. So I'm craving something, whether it's food, that might be a habit. I'm craving something to get rid of these emotions and these thoughts in my head. So what I encourage you to do is write stop right there on the top of your page. So STOP, stop, take a breath. So with me, take one big breath. Biggest breath you've taken all day. Fill it up in your lungs. Put your hands on your back. Big exhale through your mouth. Don't you already feel better? So take one big breath. Now observe. And this is where in 20 minutes, this is a complicated idea, but I want us to observe that you are the seer, your spirit is the leader and in control. You're observing your brain and your mind connecting to these negative emotions and wanting an out. So you have the opportunity to stop, take a breath, and observe, and then proceed with consciousness on which way you want to go to create the habit. So if you go to emotional eating, that habit will continue. If you can stop and take a detour on this habit loop inside your head, take a detour instead of negative to positive long term, and make a list of all the things that you love. Because if you just take food away, or if you just take alcohol away, if you just take internet away, if you all of these things, then you're going to be left hollow and not feeling fulfilled. So we need easy, quick things, just like food is, right? Food is very easy. You have cookies or chips or whatever it is, you eat it quick, that's very fast. So you have to have on the counterpart the equal amount of things that bring you joy and peace. So that's getting out of the kitchen. I for years and years, I don't have it anymore, but I have a sticker, a little post-it on my refrigerator that says it's not in here, because when I get anxiety, I want to like munch and get that away. So then I made a long list years ago. I've been working on this for 20 years, and now I'm pretty good at it. And so just keep consistent with having a list and put it on your refrigerator, or put it in front of your wine, or put it in front of your computer, is when I'm feeling depressed, this is what I'm going to do instead. I'm going to go outside and just take 3 big breaths. I'm going to turn on music and just do a little dance. I'm going to make some warm lemon water and love my dog. I'm going to call my friend. I'm going to, like, I know Deb, you love to knit. Amy loves to play the guitar. Mom, you love to ride your bike. So think about the things that you can do that that will break that cycle of your mind thinking it's in control and creating habits that do not give you long-term health, long-term joy, long-term, because we really, when we're thinking about optimizing our brain, optimizing all the things in our life, we have to think about our ultimate why. And I was at a couple of our locations yesterday. I went down to Granite Bay and Citrus Heights, and I was actually, my mom's on the call. Hi, Mom. But I was actually talking about my mom and that she's going to come speak at retreat, which I hope you guys come to. It's our Kaya Wellness Retreat at the end of August. But when you think about, like, where do you want to be in 10 years? Where do you want to be in 20 years? When I look at, like, my mom, I'm like, that's what I want. I want to be healthy. I want to be in a good relationship with people. I want to have done the work to be a joyful person. And so then when I come back to my habit loops and I have a real strong why, like, I want good relationships with human beings. I want to be in service. I want to work till the day I die. I want to contribute to this world that I live in. Then it's easier for me to take a break for that and observe, stop, and say, okay, if I go into this, drinking wine every night, is that serving my ultimate why? And then knowing the science behind getting your mind to function well. So I hope this was helpful and not too much of a lead off on optimal brain, but in order to really, like, let all of, like, the eating healthy and exercising and sleeping and all of these things really resonate with you, we have to know how to put those into play. So number one is know why you're doing this. If you want to have an optimal brain, why? Better health, relationships, mood, performance, all of these things, those are big whys. Then from there, okay, how can I create habit loops that get me into this direction? So we're going to create habit loops with just a few things. There's a lot of things you can do to increase your neurogenesis. So neurogenesis, there's kind of two crucial elements when we're thinking about our brain and our brain health. Like neurogenesis is actually creating new cells, and the neuroplasticity is taking these cells and making good use of them. So we want to continually grow and have our brain create new cells. And then with these new cells, we need to keep them active. We need to keep them vibrant, connecting, or they die. And so the more that you can look at like, okay, this is my brain, this is how I'm going to create these habits to have a really incredible optimal brain. At any age, you guys, we can create better neurogenesis, neuroplasticity at any age by doing some of these just pretty simple life things that you guys are going to know. You guys are going to be like, I know she's going to say exercise. I know she's going to say food. But even when I'm doing this myself, I'm like, can I do this better? Is there things that I can do to increase my mood day over day, to help me focus so then I'm not multitasking all over the place and forgetting things and frustrated because I have too many things going on? I can, by implementing some of these things, I can decrease my impulsivity, and I can also decrease anxiety and depression. I can create better mental clarity through these tips that we're going to work on, like having more, just like be able to look up and see all the amazing things that life has to offer instead of feeling like caged in. By implementing all of the steps that I'm going to talk about, you're going to have more restful sleep. Um, I think sometimes we overthink sleep. Uh, what I want us to all know is you were meant to sleep. I was meant to sleep. And my son sent me this like this TikTok video, and I'll try to post, I'll try to share it on my Instagram, Coach Nikki. But it was this like guy, and he's like, which is similar to me. Let's know that Kai sent it to me because it hits home. Is this guy's like, he's putting the band over his eyes, and then he's like, no blue light. And he's got blue light glasses on, and he's like, what time is it? Oh my gosh, I have to get to sleep. And he gets in bed, he's like, it's too hot. And he's just like losing his mind about all of these things for sleep. And it just made me laugh so much because sometimes as human beings, we get like glitchy on like, I need to optimize my sleep so much that I'm stressed about it and I'm not sleeping. And so all of these things that I'm saying is like, let's just take a breath. Let's just be human beings and know you're meant to eat. You're meant to eat good food. Your body's meant to move. Your body's meant to move all day long and feel good and be optimal. You're meant to sleep. And the more that we can just believe that you are meant to be optimal, the more, again, right, that mind is really strong. If you know and say to your brain, hey, Nicole, you sleep really well. You're fine. Lay your head on the pillow and you'll sleep. And then my brain says, yes, ma'am. But if I get all this anxiety around what I'm supposed to be eating and how I'm supposed to be moving and how I'm supposed to be sleeping, then my brain starts circling down that rabbit hole of I'm not doing this well. No wonder I'm a mess. I'm worried because I'm forgetting things, all of this stuff. So before we go into the tips is just know, take a breath, take a break, and tell your brain over and over again, I'm good at this. I'm good at sleeping. I love to move, and I'll incorporate more movement in my life. And I love beautiful food, and I'll eat to fuel my body, but I don't have to overthink it, and I don't have to create anxiety in my body to make that happen. Okay, so we're going to create habit loops, right? And that's going to be up to you this weekend, hopefully, to create habit loops of things that are important. So, number one is food. And we all know, like, let your food be your medicine, or medicine will become your food, right? So, you have to eat really well to have any kind of optimal health in your life. So, when you're looking at your habit loop, know that your brain likes habits. Kind of eat the same thing every day. Now, that being said, have a variety of vegetables and fruit, but eat like in the morning, have like two or three things, maybe like a little breakfast stir fry that with lots of veggies, a smoothie, or steel cut oats with walnuts and things like that. Lunch, big salad, put some protein on it, tempeh, tofu, beans, whatever that is. Lots of variety of the different kinds of veggies. And then dinner, keep it really simple and a little bit smaller. But when you're thinking about food for your brain, one of the number one things is your brain is mostly fat and water. So it's like 73% fat, something like that. It's crazy. So it's a lot of fat and a lot of water. So when you're thinking about food, it's really important to put healthy fats into your food. So like olive oil is really great and it makes your veggies yummy, but the extra virgin olive oil is one of the things that is really good for brain health. You can put it on your salads. You can, I mean, we all love olive oil. I don't even know, I don't even need to tell you how to cook with olive oil, right? But olive oil is great. Now, walnuts, there was a large study with older women, and women who ate more nuts, and especially walnuts, had a sharper memory than those who didn't. So walnuts are like the shape of your brain. So thinking about like walnuts have really special, it's omega-3s, but also really great components that help brain health. Chia seed, flax seed, sunflower seeds, all different pumpkin seeds. So just write down some of your favorite nuts. And then if you don't like certain nuts, so like my son doesn't love walnuts, so I just put a little bit in his smoothie, or I put some in his oatmeal where he really doesn't taste it. Um, Adding nuts also to like high carbohydrate meals like steel cut oats slows that blood glucose, like your insulin levels, and helps you be more resistant to those insulin spikes. So adding fat to your salads, adding avocado is really, really incredible for brain health. So thinking about those omega-3s, getting more omega-3s, less omega-6s is really good for your brain health. Green tea. So green tea, I drink green tea almost all day. I love yerba mate tea. I drink green tea. Caffeine is also really good for your brain health. Now, too much creates anxiety and can too much of anything, right? Too much of walnuts is not good for you either. So one time we went to this walnut farm, and it's like organic walnut farm, and I literally got a thing of walnuts this big, and I just would leave it by my computer. And at the end of the day, I was like, oh my gosh, you guys, I ate 4,000 calories in walnuts. I was like, I would have to run a marathon and a half to burn that many walnuts. So just knowing that everything I'm saying is like moderation, a small handful of nuts, a nice cup of coffee, a nice green tea in the afternoon is really good for mental clarity. But then there's also like neurological functions of green tea, of the caffeine that really helps with cognitive uh, behavior and cognitive like function. Okay, so when we're thinking about food, green tea, celery is one that I want to really start doing celery juice. I know, Deb, maybe you can throw in a recipe for us for celery juice, because I think and I hear a lot of people on podcasts drink celery juice every morning too. So I want to start doing that. It's also a really good electrolyte replacement, but celery has like a certain compound that actually reduces the inflammation in your brain. So I was like, oh, good. Maybe Deb will give us like Do you just stick it in a blender with water, or do you actually juice it? So those are my questions for celery juice. Maybe you could type it in for us, Deb. Berries, so blackberries, blueberries, raspberries, we know that they have a lot of anti-inflammatory responses in our body. And the inflammation in your brain, the inflammation in your body, the inflammation in your gut, it causes havoc in our brain. So the more we can eat foods that have that decrease, that help our body decrease inflammation. So like turmeric is something that you can take every day. Whether we sell like the Aura turmeric, because I have a hard time putting turmeric in everything. It's like it takes over the taste, and I don't love turmeric green tea. Sometimes I'll drink it. But so for me, I take turmeric every day. But that decreases inflammation. So just thinking about things that decrease inflammation. Algae, spirulina, chlorella. So a lot of times you associate like eating fish with good mental health, and that's because the fish eat the algae, and the fish, so you're getting that DHA and those omegas through the fish, but you can also get them through either like algae supplement, like I use Complement, but there's all kinds of like Chlorella, there's like spirulina, which is one of the most nutrient dense. Uh, I guess it's like a supplement, but it's like a food based supplement, high in protein. Really, really good for brain health. Lots of DHA. So making sure that you're either taking a supplement or that you're getting enough of that DHA, those omegas in your food. And of course, we can't ever skip talking about all the green veggies. So all of the green veggies have so many micro and macronutrients that feed our brain, that feed our gut. So there's, I could talk forever, you guys, and I'm already out of time. But when you're thinking about your gut, there's a gut brain connection, and your gut is actually coined as your second brain. So if you want to think clear, you want to feel happy and energetic, focus on your gut health. So I take, it's Trust Your Gut from Aura, but I take a prebiotic and probiotic on an empty stomach. And then I focus on eating foods like fermented foods, lots of greens, lots of cruciferous vegetables to feed my microbiome, so it releases all of like the positive feelings in my body and also helps my gut. So I have to jam through the rest of these. But two is exercise. Exercise increases your blood flow. It's one of the most important things that you can do for brain health and for increasing your memory. It releases natural growth hormone, which growth hormone helps with cognitive abilities. It decreases inflammation, so many things. But if you just move every single day, hopefully you'll do like our live stream classes. But also when you're thinking about exercise, try to get like a bigger bang for your buck when you exercise. So when you come into like an exercise class like Kaya, we on purpose have you count. We on purpose have you use multi planes of your body. So you're crossing the right and left hemispheres of your brain. So all of these movements. So if you're just running every day, you're not getting the most out of like the cognitive help that exercise can do. Sure, it's great. And I don't want to dismiss that it's not great, but exercise in different planes of movement, you're crossing the right and left hemispheres of your brain, and you're creating these neuro connections. If you're asked to do something complicated in a workout, that frustration or that like that's so irritating. That's your brain trying to figure things out. And so you're increasing your blood flow, you're exercising, which is moving your body in a way that's helping reduce like inflammation in your brain, but you're also complicating your thought process is so important. I've done tons of research on this with kids with special needs, and we talk a lot about this with like autism and different cognitive challenges that we can give children and adults. And that's why we write it into our workouts to help you not just exercise, but increase that cell production and have good use of the cells in your brain, that neuroconnection, to make you your best. So exercise smart, exercise in lots of planes of movement, and exercise every single day. Relationships are really, really important. Again, the complexity of relationships are where the good stuff is. Your relationships should not always be easy and not always be great. We're learning to communicate to people. We're learning how to take constructive feedback. We're learning how to do all of these things that take two people. And sometimes we're like, oh, I wish I could just like be on my own and not have not have all of these like harder relationship things. But really the harder relationship conversations, as long as you don't hold them in as stress and let them cause havoc in your body, if you can teach yourself to have hard conversations in a kind way, if you can teach yourself to listen to people, because everybody, once you listen, you always hear their story, and things make more sense if you ask deeper questions. So I encourage you to dive into harder conversations because it's really good for your brain. Try new things. So whether it's another language, I'm trying to do the dual lingo on my phone every day and work on my Spanish. Not easy for me. An instrument, knitting, but do something different, something new. And like walking into a new class, like, so maybe you're doing regular cross training and you're like, I go to dance class all the time, not because I'm good at it, not because I necessarily love it, even though I kind of do, but it makes my brain, I can actually smell my neurons trying to connect because I'm like, they're going this way and I'm going this way and my hands need to do this. And so doing those type of like yoga, things that are challenging to you are really, really important. So be a learner, be like, if something is uncomfortable again, say, yeah, I'm making my brain smart. This is uncomfortable, but this is really good for me. We talked about sleep, but sleep is natural for you. Just sleep 7 to 8 hours, turn things off, don't drink too much caffeine, get in your nice, yummy bed. If you wake up in the middle of the night because of hormones, just like take that as an opportunity for you to meditate, because meditation is the last thing I'm going to talk about. Meditation has been proven time and time again through science that it helps our cognitive function, helps us focus, it helps us de-stress, because stress, it's not everybody's going to have stress. Stress is normal, but it's that we hold on to stress, and it's chronic stress that causes us neurological issues. So if we can meditate just 5 minutes, or in the middle of the night when you can't sleep, just meditating and having that deep rest is something that's really incredibly important for your brain. And it doesn't have to be like you're moving to the Himalayas and doing like the 10-day meditations like my mom and my sisters do, but just taking 5 minutes at the beginning of the day, rolling your shoulders down and back and saying, I'm going to have a good day, instead of what a lot of us do is like wake up and be like, oh, I'm so tired, I need coffee. What do I have to do today? So just starting your day a little bit better and starting your day on purpose is important. Okay, well, I hope this was helpful. I know I talk a lot and I try to cram so many things into these talks, but I love you guys and I really want to give as much as I can to you. Please give me your feedback. Let me know if things resonate with you. Let me know if there's anything that you have that you'd like to contribute. I'd love to have you on any of these Friday talks. So again, brain health, just remember that our brains really like habits, and be very conscious what habits you're watering. Are you going to water weeds that are going to grow and be a problem? Are you going to water your wildflowers that grow and be beautiful? So try to think about that habit loop as much as possible. When you're thinking about your habit loop, create habits around food, around exercise, around relationships, around trying new things, around sleep, and around meditation and focus.